any research.
Yeah, me either. But in all honesty, that's kind of normal for me. You're usually the one who does all that stuff. I just sit here and I don't know what I do. I quip. I think that's what it is.
At no point in my life did I ever think I would be the research guy.
Yeah, I'm on as like, you know when you watch the Olympics and you're like, man, I wonder what like a normal guy would do, like compared to like these experts. That's like what I do, but like with tabletop shit. Because I don't know anything about like systems and mechanic making and stuff like that.
Bullshit, you make mechanics, I've seen you do it.
I'm not really. Like I get to be the everyman that the viewer places themselves in the position of, and I take that role very seriously.
I'm everyman. So this is gonna be a fucking real riveting one, folks.
Oh god, yeah, we got a real fucking nail biter for you today.
Something that I think people have been clamoring for.
Oh god, they're eating up the chat boards that we totally have made, and yeah, no, we just non-stop requests for this one.
Derived statistics. It's fucking cool. God damn it, Taylor. This is gonna be toughy.
Welcome to Harry Potter and the Derived Statistic of Azkaban.
His foster father goes to jail. Actually, yes, breaks out of jail. Okay. Anyway, let's not go on the Harry Potter thing. So, derived statistics. Oh, we do have a little something to go on. Which is what I messaged you the other day.
Yeah, that is true. Let me get that pulled up, actually, because I want to have that.
Fuck, wait, have you looked over this fucking document? It's a madman's ravings.
It is. I tried to make it as organized as I could, but I feel like we kind of lost it in the weeds at certain points.
It's because I got to put my dirty hands on it.
I can only do so much.
Stop touching things! I can't!
Okay, where... Jesus, we talk so fucking much. Where is this shit?
Freaky... The last fucking... We were in a weird place last week. The last feat we came up with was called Freaky Friday.
Oh yeah, that's where you switch places with somebody.
That is what a Freaky Friday is.
That is the definition, I believe, yeah.
Fuck, man, okay.
It depends on which social science you're in. Some people call it the Freaky Friday, some people call it the switcheroo. I'm pretty sure if you're in, like, sociology, they just call it, like, the bait and switch.
Which science calls it the Freaky Friday? That's a chemistry.
Theology.
Theology. And Jesus did a Freaky Friday with Moses.
Jesus
I have no idea.
Freaky Friday. Everybody knows this. Read the New Testament.
I'm always confused about the Bible. Jesus is 3 people and one of them's his dad?
Also dead.
Yeah. Hey, are you drinking a Surge?
Oh god, I wish. No. It's just a seltzer.
Oh, word. Yeah, I thought you you came back from the gym and cracked into a Surge.
I go to the gym now, Corey. I need all of that adrenaline.
My adrenaline. Oh, dude, you're gonna get Shayna riled up.
What?
Venom.
Oh, adrenaline momentum.
Okay, so... Oh, man, I'm trying to resize this without getting our stupid heads in the way.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm just going to have to move the TGS logo, which is now an official part of the stream.
It wasn't before?
No, it hasn't been on for a while. Okay, so, we're talking derived statistics. We endeavor to make this a game with a moderate amount of crunch, which actually I think is fairly interesting. Is that, Taylor, this was your idea?
It was. I actually came up with the derived statistics idea.
I love it.
I
Uh,
I feel like I'm very quickly going to come to regret it because I did it in just a moment of like desperation. We were in the middle of a stream and like I wasn't really sure. We were at a place where we didn't really know how to move forward. And I was like, "Well, what if we just took Creatronics and Biologica and made that a number and that number means something?"
and my eyebrow went. Hmm?
And I feel cuz again, like I was saying before, I don't really know that much about the way that these systems are made, but I do get the impression that a derived mechanics system is going to be hyper mechanical.
Well,
like I feel like we've kicked it into like another level.
It is like I think that's where you get into a more mechanically crunchy games are games that like factor in like D&D used to do this. Pathfinder still does this, where you have AC. I think D&D might still do it in certain situations, but very moderately. Where you have like your AC, but then you have your flat-footed AC, your grapple AC, and these stats, like they're stats that are situational, and they're derived from like however your AC is calculated. Because I mean, like all games have some form of derived statistic. Not all games, but a lot of games have some form of derived statistic. But usually it's fairly easy. Your AC starts at fucking 10, or your armor class is 10 plus your dexterity modifier in the case of D&D. Like that is a derived statistic. And what you're talking about is utilizing the numbers that exist during character creation and generating things like an armor, like an armoring, like a rating for your armor. Trying to find the right word for that. Like how hard we're gonna have to talk about things like this: how hard you hit, how easy it is to deplete HP, and that's like where we get into this idea of like HP bloat, which D&D does, and other games like Savage Worlds does not do because they have a wound system. So we're going like the negative I think of HP bloat is that like you get into this encounter and it's just there's only one way to make things more deadly, and that's to make them sponges for damage, and it just makes the encounter go longer so they can do funkier things to you. So that slows things down. I think it's a bad design generally, but it is like foundational design for a lot of games. So
yeah, so I've been brushing up on some old anime recently, and I was rewatching like Yu Yu Hakusho, and like the way you describe it kind of reminds me of this shit where like every villain you face is like more powerful, somehow more deadly than the last villain, who was like the most powerful creature ever imaginable. And yet for some reason every single one of them is defeated by basically just like a bigger blast of energy, which frankly is just narratively really boring. Like getting into like this like nuclear arms race of like increasingly more unbelievably powerful creatures, and I think that can work for some things. I mean, like if we were making a game that was based on like, I don't know, like Viking legends or something like that, or like even stuff like old tales like Robin Hood, like they use that kind of imagery all the time, where they describe a sword fight as being the most skilled sword fight anyone in the crowd had ever seen, even more so than the last one last week that was like more skilled. But like this is not that kind of game. It's not that kind of world, and it's not really that kind of story. So I think that wherever we can, for my money at least, we should try and avoid that kind of a mechanic. You did come up with a really cool system. I actually found it. I have it pulled up here if you want me to read your Madman message.
Yeah. Just no editing.
No editing, not at all. What if we had an HP counter with wound points, kind of like we have action points, where you derive, period, and then starting the thing, where you derive how many points you have off stats, comma, like you mentioned, and you need to resisted damage with a similar tracks for armor points. With a period with a spiraling effect for losing certain amount of each as you depleted the track, sort of like a mix of classic HP and wound system. It might negate some of HP bloat while still having a more viable combat system. So, if I am understanding this correct, what you're saying is basically there is a number of HP that you start out an encounter with. And it will be similar kind of like to what we were talking about with action points.
Yeah, I like the idea of having like little buttons to fill out on the character sheet.
And where you derive how many points you have off stats, like you mentioned, and you resisted damage, and you resist damage, so your armor would also have a similar derived number. And then we can have a spiraling effect for losing a certain amount of each as you deplete the track. You're actually going to need to explain that bit to me because I don't understand what that means.
Sure, let me get into a couple things. First off, what I was talking about with, like, armor being a... I was talking about armor being, like, a contested role. So we've been playing in my other group, Mutants and Masterminds, which does this. I'm frozen right now, aren't I?
That is what it looks like. Yes.
Hold on 1 second, folks. We're getting back into it.
He was just on a roll. We're gonna lose all 16 of our subscribers.
Come back! We need you. Okay, so one thing that Mutants and Masterminds does really well is that, and I think it captures the spirit of like a superhero game in that, like, you get hit, and there isn't, like, damage in Mutants and Masterminds. There's ranks that you have for, like, how strong you are, or ranks that you have for a power that you're using. And then people need to resist that with, like, toughness, or parry, or dodge. And if you resist it, you keep on fighting. If you don't resist it, you take, like, an effect like exhaustion, so it makes it easier to hit you the next time. So you slowly just start, like, getting more and more exhausted and not being able to fight. So instead of, like, HP, you take conditional HP, and it's all about resisting the effect. So, like, you're always a superhero, you know? Like, you're always, like, super strong and powerful, but, like, you can resist huge blasts of radiation, but then one gets you fucking off kilter. Then, like, that screams superhero to me. And I like the idea of using contested roles. So that was where that idea comes from. I also think it would be interesting to have, like, because we have 3 things, like 3 core relevancies, the idea being that, like, if we're going to do HP as a derived statistic, I think it would make sense to do armor as a derived statistic, and then do movement as a derived statistic, and then do those 3 things based off of a core relevancy. And the idea being, like, and then you could take feats that could bump up your HP, or bump down, bump up your armor, things like that. Now, for the next...
Oh, sorry, no, go ahead.
No, I'm ranting, you go.
Okay, so let me hit you with an idea here that I actually had while I was reading this thing. What if at the start of combat, the party declared its intent, and depending on what that intent was, you derived different statistics to make up your HP pool?
Okay. Conceptually, I love that. Realistically, I think that's going to slow down combat quite a bit to have to derive statistics every time, unless it were, like, unless it were different, like, you know how monks in D&D have, like, styles they can choose?
Sure.
What if it were, like, that same idea, but, like, those tracks are already decided beforehand, and you choose the one you're going to pick, depending on, like, okay, we're going to do this with this approach. But and my fear here, too, is that, like, maybe... It's my fear and my love of this idea that you just pitched. My love of it is it incorporates the party statistics together into like one thing,
Right.
into this mishmash, which feels very much like Vault Peddlers to me. My fear of it is that like we said we're going to do a simple mechanic, like a simple derived statistic. That feels like pretty heavy crunch right there.
Right. Well, so I've been super. Let me flesh this out a little bit more in our minds here. I've been super inspired by like Legend of the Five Rings and the way that their mechanical system is built up.
Yeah.
They do a lot of derived statistics, like with focus, vigilance, strife, endurance, composure, all of this stuff. I really love the idea that at the start of an encounter, the party decides, okay, our goal here is to, try and trick it into like this corner of the room where there's like a trap. And then we say, okay, well then that sounds like a mixture of Star Shatter and Biologica, right? And so you take those two numbers, put them together, and then we can like times it by 3, or whatever we want to do as far as action points go, and then that's like the number of your action points.
Can you start again? I'm sorry, I lost that. My camera got all funky, and then something weird happened over here.
I saw your camera go out. I didn't know if you still had audio. Okay, so sorry. So let's say like you're at the table at an encounter.
Yeah.
And the idea here is basically just that you're going to take, for whatever goal your party decides on, if it's to overpower the thing, if it's to trick the thing, if it's to run away from the thing, you pick 2 core relevancies and you times it by, I don't know, 3 or something like that.
Okay.
And that creates your action points. So the idea is like, the party decides, well, we want to try and lure it into this corner where we know there's this trap. And then we say, okay, cool. So that'll be Biologica and Star Shatter times 3, and then you sort of go from there. Maybe I'm missing a pretty big component of it. That sounds like it would actually be pretty quick if we have the different goals kind of already pre-made.
Yeah. And that's actually what I think I was saying before. Like, unless
styles that in which you could enter combat. Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I thought that you meant, when you said that, I thought that you meant having pre-made. Oh, did we lose you again?
Yeah, dude, my camera's like, it keeps freezing, and I realize it's disconnecting.
Oh, that's really weird.
Yeah. Hold on
Okay.
1 second. I'm gonna try to.
Yeah, for sure.
Try to solve that. That is. Oh boy. I'll be back!
And for now, folks, I guess this is just you and me. So I don't know what we're doing. Let me tell you what. I'm going to go ahead and while Corey crawls under his desk, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of think through this whole thing out loud. Because my understanding of what Corey was saying was that we would basically preset not only the style, but we would also preset like the numbers. And I don't like that idea, because that feels like it removes a big part of like party autonomy, and I definitely want the derived statistics to actually be derived, and not just something that's kind of preset. But what I will say is that I don't know, I think that the big challenge of this kind of idea, this like approach to combat, is that we're really going to have a tough time. We're really going to have a tough time figuring out what derived statistics to use for each one. I mean, our 3 core relevancies are Star Shatter.
1985 Garbage Pail Kid blasted Billy. Look at the cost.
Sweet.
Roll what?
Crazy, huh? What are you doing?
I'm on stream! What? Oh, it's still not working, huh?
I mean, it's actually working. It's been working this whole time, I think.
Can you see me right now?
Oh, well, no, actually, I'm looking at an empty chair right now.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, man.
I assumed you were still crawling under the desk.
No, I'm not. Technical difficulties, properties.
Huh.
I don't know why it keeps. This was doing this the other day during session. Might have to buy a new camera tomorrow.
Yeah, might be time. Shit.
This
Well,
is a
sorry,
brand
man,
new camera. So.
Yeah, you just got that, didn't you?
Yeah. Weird.
Do you think it's still under warranty or anything?
No. Weird.
Well, Bean.
Okay. That was insane. What just happened? So, what's up? How's life?
It's good. I was doing my best to hold the stream by ranting about statistics and whether or not they're derived, but I'm glad you're back. I was so afraid and lonely.
So here's a question for you, because we've been playing Legend of the Five Rings.
Yeah.
Are you thinking that this is something that you could change every turn? Or would it be something you have to declare at the start of an encounter?
I think that it would definitely be something that you could change. I don't think I would make it something as formal as like the way you change stances in L5R.
Yeah.
Like where it's like an official thing. I think that we should play with that idea narratively. And like, let's say in the middle of a round, some horrible thing happens and the party's plan changes from, like, let's, steamroll this monster and like take it out, and it changes to like, we need to get the fuck out of here. And like, I think what should happen then is like, you finish out that round with the like action points, that you previously had, and then it changes next round.
So the only thing I can think is that obviously, like, with the way our initiative works, like, changing next round is always going to be like everyone changing at once. So right. I feel like there should be like some sort of consequence for changing how, like, because you're and this is something we're talking about, like, with the whole idea of like reactions in game, of like there being a consequence basically of other people's plans falling apart. And I wonder if there's a way we could bring that same sort of, and not that I want the game to be overly consequential like that, but like, or maybe there's a reduction of action points you take for a change of plan. Ooh, that actually kind of works. Changing stance mid-combat because you're like shifting gears.
Yeah, I mean, it basically, if you're changing plans in the middle of a combat, I think that what that narratively kind of has to mean is that your plan has gone wrong. Like, something has fucked up in your plan, and you're having to scramble and try and like make do with what's going on. So like, I think that a reduction in points makes sense.
Yeah, let's do this then. What we need to do then is we need to generate a system of different combat stances, basically, that you take, like group stances that you take to approach a combat or like a combat timed encounter. It doesn't have to be combat necessarily, but like something in that initiative tracker. And then I think very easily, like we just said, like everyone starts with, like, on the next turn, everyone starts with half the action. Your action points only regenerate by half instead of a full track this time. That way it's not overly consequential, because like next turn, like you'll be back to, it's just you shifting gears basically.
Right.
I love that idea, dude. I think we should totally follow up on this. And I think, I like the idea of it being derived, like you were, maybe this wasn't your intent, but this is the vibe I picked up, is that like it's derived off of the group stats.
Yeah, and that honestly is going to be a bigger thing, because I'm torn now as to whether or not I want to use. When we talk about group stats, you mean like caravan stats, right?
I meant like the Vault Peddler party. Like if you're currently on in a poll. So actually, hold on, I got a fucking great idea right now. I'm on a roll with what you were saying.
Yeah, go for it.
It's okay. It's derived off of group stats, so you get, like, for this stance you get so many point. What should we call nodes? Nodes are good. Armor nodes, health nodes, movement nodes. You get this many. Ooh, because it's sort of like that idea of like the joint dice group thing. So based on the stance you pick, say we're doing like a running stance or whatever, this is gonna prioritize movement and armor probably, right? Because it's evasive. So to do that, you generate this many armor nodes, this many health nodes, this many movement nodes based off of everyone's stats together, you know? But then you and this might be overhandling, but I kind of love the idea of like you divvy that up among the party for that stance. Like, okay, it's important that you be alive for this maneuver, so fucking you get 5 armor nodes, and I'm gonna take, you know, like that whole strategic deployment of things. It might be overhandling, it might slow things down too much. But it's an idea, and it sort of plays into the ideas we already have.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay, so let's look into a couple of things here. So,
how many stances? Should we call them stances?
I kind of see them more as
approach
goals, intense approach.
Ooh, intent I kind of like. Ooh, because intent kind of follows that like that vibe of a contract, right?
Yeah, I think intent.
Intent and condition.
Contract language.
Should we call feats conditions?
Okay. It's conditions. Is that what we call them?
No, we just call them feats because we're afraid of overhandling. But I like the idea of calling something. No, you know what? There's already word for conditions that is regular parlance in tabletop games. If we start switching things around up, people.
Yeah, let's stick to what's there.
What about terms?
What?
Terms instead of intent.
Oh,
our terms for this combat. Intent or terms. I'm down with either one of those. Where should I be?
Oh, that's actually wild, because if you look at the initiative section of the thing, the first stage of initiative is declaration phase. Players and archivists state their intentions with discretion of the GM. So I'm going to put from here, from the intent.
How about this? Intent is stated at the start of combat, and then can only be shifted as a consequence. And then from there, the declaration phase begins. Because declaration phase happens every turn, right?
I believe so, yes. Okay, so intent would be the first phase?
Yeah. And this is like, you know, this is like, you can switch it up, but it isn't an every turn kind of thing. What I like here is it gives us more things to play around with feats. Because now we can have feats that, like, focus on intent in combat and shit.
Okay. From which they use derived statistic to determine their action points.
Holy smokes!
That is right. We're talking about these different stances or intents to determine action points, right? Like, they don't determine health.
Actually, I was gonna say action points straight up. 6 action points. Everyone gets 6 action points every turn. And then armor, HP, and movement are all based off of this.
Got it. Okay.
And movement, not because I guess armor would be soak.
Oh, armor would be soak. Gotcha.
Yeah, this way you can have like feats and items that are flat boosts to these things, like this item when activated gives you, for how much petty coin, gives you a flat, like, 1 HP node that you just always have. But,
Right.
also, fucking Taylor, I just got a really good idea, because this game focuses on, like, long-term play, right? And mechanically minded in, hold on. Before you write any more, hear me out.
Okay.
I think that as a group, depending on what feats you take, you can unlock different intents.
Oh.
So you start off with the base 3 intent: defensive, attack, and escape. And those are the basic intents. And they're very focused, whatever. But through play and the development of feats, like, if someone has this feat and someone else has this feat, you can have... They're like prestige classes, basically, that are like hyper... my idea is that they'd be like more situational intents, like the idea of luring, tricking, deceiving, like that's like super situational, right? And like you could still do it in your regular attack intent, but you're not going to be as primed for it as you would be with like the lure, trick, deceive intent.
Okay, 1 second here. So, additional intents are available through character feats. Should I just leave it at that, or?
Yeah, leave it at that, because I mean, there are going to be feats that like you have to get a certain amount of certain ranks in, that kind of thing, like because they're going to be, but it's going to increase like your team, which also adds to the benefit. Like when somebody dies, dude, it's not just losing, like, yeah, I lost my character. It's like
party loses that intent.
Yeah, like we lose our whole approach to vault pedaling now. Like we have to totally
really
shift
good.
gears now, because we
I like that a lot. Okay. So let me ask you this. So when we talk about determining armor, HP, and movement, the one thing that worries me is that I worry that they won't be... They're all just going to be the same number. Like if the idea of the derived statistic is if I go with the overpower, I'm combining, Biologica and Creatronics, for example, and then like timesing it by 3. Does that mean that it's that number for armor, HP, and movement all together?
Well, no, because we took out the core relevancy as an actual like statistic. It is a narrative. Yeah, we totally did.
I mean, I feel like this is a place where we can use it, though. I mean, the question remains: if we're using a derived statistic and we're doing it to determine these 3 things, then are they all the same number?
Well, no, because they won't be, because everyone is going to have different stat arrays based on character creation.
No.
What are you saying?
Well, no, if we're using a derived statistic to determine armor, HP, and movement, then they won't have those preset numbers, right?
They won't be preset. They'll be based on intent. Here's how I'm seeing it. Like, if we're doing I gotta get to stats. Yeah, Mo, you're not going outside. It's late. I was yelling at a cat, not a person, people. Where are they? Hey, where are the
What you looking for?
attributes?
1 sec.
Oh, here they are. Right? Nope, these are backgrounds. Guys, we're officially lost in their own game.
I mean, that happened a long time ago, let's be honest. Province skills? You're looking for skills and attributes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're looking for province skills. It's right above feats.
Oh. The weird name we have for it.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so here's how I'm seeing it.
Okay.
If we're doing something like defensive posture, right?
Sure.
We would take the best of everyone's hardiness, or I guess we could base these off the best of everyone's. Trying to re-familiarize myself with these stats. Okay, so for something like what did I say? Like armored defensive postures. We would take your clockwork skill, everyone's clockwork skill, added together times 2. We would take what's second most important? Probably like attack would be second most important to a defensive posture, right? Over like movement. So you take at that point everyone's ferocity attribute and add it together, and then you would take everybody's obfuscation attribute, add them together and half it.
Right.
And those would be the nodes that you would have to start with. So like everyone had, and then you take all the nodes that are generated from there and split them up among the party.
What? Oh, okay, wait. So hang on. So the party decides at the beginning of combat what each they are given a giant pool of these nodes, and then the party divvies them out. That was
the idea. I said that might be overhandling.
Okay, because that will take forever.
Yeah,
I agree.
I agree. Okay, so then this would be the case. Yes, everyone at that point would have. Oh, I see what you're saying then. Like, yeah, everyone is going to have the same movement points, the same. I mean, that is the negative of this thing. Like, right. I still think that like what you're doing. So your HP, no, because yeah, everyone would have the same armor, the same movement, and the same attack, right? But your feats would change those things, because you could have a feat that gives you just a stock +1 HP node, you know.
Sure.
The items that you gathered during vault peddling stuff, that could change it through the spending of petty coin.
Okay.
And basically those two, and like how you choose to approach things. Like if I'm going to do something that rolls on my obfuscation, I'm still rolling my obfuscation. That's not halved. But yes, it would, like you say, like everyone would have this like even distribution at the start of the turn. I see what you're saying.
So I have a couple of thoughts then. One, this might be a better way of determining if we really want to hang on to this intent system, which I personally like. It might honestly be better applied in determining action points, and then things like armor and HP and movement could also be derived statistics that are done on character creation. I know that you had like an idea of starting with like 6 action points, and I want to respect that as much as I can, but it definitely seems like we have 2 gears here that really fit together well, and we're just maybe not doing it because we don't wanna.
Well, so I mean, my fear of doing like, I mean, that just brings us back to the same issue. Is we're going to have to decide how to do these. I feel like doing it this way takes the like joint adventure bit that is exciting about what we were talking about intent out of it, and we're just doing it based on derived statistics on your character sheet, which is fine, but it's just the regular way to do derived statistics. It isn't as exciting as what we were just talking about to me. But I also see the reservation there because it makes things kind of samey.
I mean, let me also put forward a potential issue with doing a derived HP that changes like that. What if the character is not in combat and they ingest poison?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah, they haven't rolled to determine what their HP is, so how is that determined in that case?
Yeah, and like I don't know, armor changing. Like I guess like defensive posturing makes sense. Maybe there's. So here's my issue though. Like having derived statistics on the character sheet and then doing these stances feels like we're doing like derived statistics on derived statistics. That is going to be too complicated for people to want to play.
That I agree. I think that is going to be too much. What if we did this? We have three things, right? That we're trying to derive. We have HP, we have armor, we have movement. What if we did go with Creatronic, Star Shatter, Biologica, but we said that, like, okay, if your intent here is aggressive, okay, that's Star Shatter, whatever. So you take your three attributes in Star Shatter, and then you determine which one goes where.
Holy shit, I just got an idea.
Okay.
I think it's very simple, too. Your movement, okay, your movement, your HP, and your defense are based on those core relevancies. Those core relevancies are derived by just adding up the ranks of the attributes. So my Biologica is the add up of my holistics, tribalism, and obfuscatia, and that's how many nodes I have for HP. And then Creatronics, that would be my defensive one, right? So that would be add up all of the ranks on my Clockwork, Logica, networks. Star Shatter, same thing, but for offensive. What were we? Or maybe that's your
escaping.
No, maybe that's your action points. Maybe your action points are based off of your Star Shatter, all added up together.
Okay.
And then, Taylor, then we do stances. And stances are as easy as this to start for the first ones. You get a +2 for defense, +1 for your offense, and a minus 1 or 2 for the one that you're bad at in the stance. So your defensive stance, you're going to be bad at movement. So everyone, you declare your stance, anything you're doing towards, or you take like -2 nodes off your movement. It's kind of simple.
I'm sure that it is. I'm not following it.
Okay, so let me 3 derived statistics.
Right.
HP, armor, and movement.
Okay, and real quick before you move on.
Yeah.
It is the same number for each, right?
No.
Or it's a different number.
It's going to be derived on your character sheet. Everyone's going to have individual derived statistics. This is what I was getting at, okay? So looking at the province skills section,
right.
We're going to have to pick for each of these, do we want Biologica to govern HP? Do you want Biologica to govern armor? Do you want Biologica to govern movement?
But the point is Biologica will govern one of those things and not the other two.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm following you so far. Go ahead.
Okay, so say for this case that Biologica governs HP.
Sure.
You are going to, on your character sheet, add up the ranks for your attributes, which are holistics, tribalism, and obfuscatia. Right?
Right.
So those ranks added together are just how many HP nodes your character has.
Right.
And then you do the same thing with the other 2 derived statistics off the other core relevancies. From there, we do the same thing we had for intent. Same idea in that you have like 3 major intents. Attack, defensive posturing, and escape.
Right.
So if you want to escape, what's the most important thing to you? Movement.
I see. If you want to do defensive, then you would get a +2 to whatever you're.
You get an extra node for the.
I see. Okay. I feel you. I missed it at the beginning. I got you now.
It takes the best of what we were talking about. Now, there are some negatives to this. First off, like, your track for HP, armor, and movement ain't gonna move that much. Like, it's gonna increase a bit as you level up, but our ranks only go to 10, so it can only go so fucking high. So, I mean, we're definitely gonna be playing with the idea of feats juggling a lot of that movement, or maybe not, like, depending on how much bloat we want. That is one major issue I'm going to see, because I believe it is fairly expensive to increase your ranks after 5.
Yeah, we intentionally did that.
So, like, that would be the thing. It would be, you would have 3 derived statistics that are fairly easy to approach, and then we'd have 3 basic stances, intents, that you would take at the beginning of the combat. That way, your armor and, your HP, like you said, is constant. So if you get poisoned, you get poisoned. That still affects your HP. Beyond that, you'll stay injured too, is the other thing that wouldn't work with our last one. Our last idea, it would reset, right? Because you're deriving statistics every time you change your intent. So it would have been real fiddly to try to work through that. So this is consistent, and then, like, it's situational, your intent. So, like, I'm going to do defensive posturing. Then when I have defensive posturing up, I have +2 armor nodes that we just all have. And those get removed if we change our intent, and the cost of changing your intent is you start the next round with halved action points.
Okay.
It's derived.
Hang on. Let's. Can you shoot the stream back up to where we were doing combat mechanics? I want to go ahead and start writing some of this stuff down, because it helps me to have something to look at.
Yeah. My man, I'm sorry. I was just ranting.
No, it's fine. I mean, all of this is good. I'm just worried that we're going to try and
losing it
and completely miss what we're doing. So, okay, so health, armor, and soak are derived statistics comprised.
It would be health, armor, and movement. Or we can call armor soak. I'm totally fine with that. I actually prefer the term soak, because that is what it is mechanically.
Sure. Point is that is actually movement.
We are gonna have to think, though, because, like, part of me thinks that, like, movement should be based off like the core relevancy that governs obfuscation, right? Maybe Star Shatter should control HP.
Let's have a quick look here. So I'm gonna shoot back down to province skills. Okay, so Biologica has holistics, tribalism, and obfuscation. I
actually feel like movement works better there than HP.
HP, actually, Star Shatter might be a better fit for HP anyways, because it has adaptation, nebulae, and ferocity.
Yeah.
Which, to me, kind of actually feels more like an HP sort of thing.
And, like, magic is based off of that, which I think, like, fucking robust from magic. Like...
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So we're going to do that then. I am pretty solidly in the field of Creatronics as defensive.
It's gotta be! Little robot sons of bitches.
Alright, so I'm going to switch this then. So this is Star Shatter. Can you read me the the 3 attributes in Star Shatter?
Yes, I can, my friend. The 3 attributes in Star Shatter are adaptation, nebulae, and ferocity.
Okay. And Creatronics is Clockwork Logica Networks, right?
Yeah, baby!
Okay.
It's like a very Sherlock Holmes, like RDJ Sherlock Holmesian interpretation of defense. Like doing like the addition.
This mustn't register on an emotion.
Nice.
Yeah. Holistics, tribalism, and obfuscatia. Okay. Cool. All right. So derived statistic comprised of
Hey, Taylor.
a single. Yeah.
I'm gonna do something big here.
God.
Looking over at our names for things, we only actually have a couple that are like obfuscatia or adaptatia. It's really just those two.
Okay.
Let's just do a adaptation, and obscuring.
All right. I guess that's fine. I
Yeah.
don't. Yeah. Obfuscate?
Yeah, obfuscate. This is going to communicate our game a lot easier to people, I think.
Adaptation.
Like, I know what ferocity is. I don't know what obfuscation is. It just sounds good.
It just sounds tight. I mean, it's give and take, and we've had this conversation a lot where it's like on one hand you're doing cool like lore and world building, but on the other hand you're giving yet another hurdle for potential players to have to jump over to understand like what the fuck this shit is.
Yeah.
So I think that that's perfectly fine.
Okay, cool. That was a
All right,
decision we
so-
did.
Going to intent phase. So offensive is a +1 or +1 or
So I think it is. Hey, how about this? Just the base ones are +2, +0. Oh, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. How do you feel? +2, 0, -2, or +1, 0, -1 for like the base ones. Here's the thing. On the one hand, it makes sense to start small, build our way up with these conditional specialty ones that you can earn your way into. On the other hand, starting with just a plus, I don't know, just feels kind of like...
it just feels lame.
Yeah.
Like I don't have another word for it.
Yeah, let's do, yeah, +2, 0.
So it's +2 to health, 0 to armor.
Yeah. And -2 to movement.
Okay. All right, and then this is.
I think we need to do offensive maneuvers, defensive posturing, and escape as the 3 base ones. Hey, how do you feel about the term nodes?
I like nodes, actually. I think that that's tight.
All right, let's stick it in and stick with it then.
Okay.
They're action nodes then. Oh, action nodes sounds sick.
Okay, so what should defensive be? Defensive would be...
Same idea.
I imagine 0 to health, right?
0 to health minus... Oh, whoa. We got into an issue there, because it's -2 to movement. Maybe offensive is... Oh, make offensive 0 to movement, -2 to armor.
Yeah, I think that makes more
Because
sense.
you're getting in there. You're really getting after
Okay.
it.
Alright, and so then that would mean 0 to health. +2 to armor. And
-2 to movement.
2 to movement, and then escape. The definition has to be
+2 to
-2 to
movement.
health.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that tracks to me. You're like
0 to armor, and +2. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
So I mean, obviously, like this comes with the like you, and we should write this in and hard encode this. I mean, or maybe we shouldn't. Can you switch to? This is like a chess thing. Can you switch to an intent that would kill you?
Oh, that's a really good question. If I have like 1 health and I switch from offensive to like escape, shit.
I mean, here's the thing. I think like it could be narratively interesting. I also think that like it might be gaming the system. I mean, you obviously have to have some way to if you have some way to take care of it, maybe that's worthwhile, but like the narrative consequences of like, I gotta drag this sucker around if I'm escaping, I don't know.
Okay.
Or at the start of a new turn. Switching stances can be done at the start of a new turn at the cost of half.
After benefit.
Or just half your action, your action nodes.
Oh, action nodes.
Yeah, action nodes, action man, action. For the following turn, yeah.
Which they return to. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. And now we have to go. Okay. So we need to talk about this right here. Can you switch to if switching to an intent would bring you to 0? Can you do it?
Really good question. So if switching to an intent brings a player's health to 0 or below.
I feel like if you've got a way to deal with it.
I mean, the question is, do we have a way to deal with it, you know? Like, logically, it makes sense to me that if your health goes below 0 as a result of switching, then, like, you suffer, like, the unconscious condition or something.
Sure.
And the other players have to drag your ass out of there. The issue that I see there is that, like, if I'm in a really desperate spot, it kind of prevents the idea of even switching stances in the first place. Because, like, if I'm by myself and I'm, like, on the offensive trying to kill this thing, then, like, if it's killing me, I'm not going to be like, well, I'm not going to switch to escape.
No. I agree. I agree with you. I think, like, narratively it fills out actually very cool things. Like, if you go down, like, yeah, you're fucking helping fight this thing off at the cost of, like, your own life. And then maybe they can drag you out and bring you back to life. But yeah, I think you can. I think you can.
Yoda, will you stop?
Yoda, don't listen to him. You're a champion of your own being.
The champion at licking his own ass.
He can't control you, Yoda.
I mean, I can't. It's depressingly true. So wait, you're saying you can go below 0?
I think so. Like, the team has to suffer the narrative consequences of this. We've already talked about, like, the idea that, like, if somebody, like, truly and finally goes down, which we are going to have to talk about, like, is there going to be, like, a death save mechanic or something?
Yeah.
That is something we'll have to discuss. But, like, if somebody like, I mean, like obviously that like can blow up your whole fucking setup. So like this can't be done lightly. Like I think we just put in, if somebody chooses to go 0 off the switch to switch to intent, they may do so. And you know, narratively, those consequences will come into play. Like if they're taking the unconscious condition, then like fine, but like you gotta drag his body out there, which is gonna cost you some kind of movement. Like,
and that's the other thing, right? Is I'm sure that dragging somebody out is gonna have a movement detriment, which is frankly the whole reason why you would try to escape anyway.
Unless you just are sacrificing yourself, and like.
Well, if you're dragging the person out, they're not sacrificing.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Like, unless they are just sacrificing themselves, like we're switching intent as a team, right? So like, I'm near death, and I know if we switch intent to escape, everyone else is gonna get away, and I'm not going to. Like, that's good character moments. Let's just put a pin in it. We can come back to it. Like, we don't have to... Use the note thing that you do on all the other ones. Hello?
There you go.
Oh, I see. I didn't know if I couldn't hear you or you were very quiet.
I was waiting for a last-minute epiphany to hit me, but I don't think I've got a good answer for it right now.
Okay, so real quick then, let's go to derived statistics, and let's just write down what the derived statistics are and how you are generating them on your character sheet.
Okay. Where would we be putting that?
Well, we'd be putting that under the the correctly named province skills or under character creation somewhere. Why is this called province skills?
I don't know. I'm going to change it. Attributes - skills.
I miss province skills.
Dumb. I feel like it would probably be best put in character creation.
Yeah, after, ooh, man, history, character creation. Oh, character creation advancement, post-creation advancement. So every player begins. So yeah, just right at the bottom, we just stick another one.
Okay. Yeah. So it's HP, armor, and movement are all derived. Statistics pulled from following. HP.
I like
Armor. Artmer?
Yeah, it was a typo you did for just a second. You covered it up, but it was Artmer sounds like some like art school. Oh man, I just got a good idea for a TTRPG. Art school warriors.
Art school warriors?
Throw this one in the garbage.
All right, class. Welcome to abstract painting. Now pick up your swords. Will you calm the fuck down? He will not.
Incorrect. Let me up.
Father, pick me up.
The dog has blocked my path. You are still good.
So to be clear, we're just talking here about like how these things are derived from like health is star shatter, armor is creatronics, movement is.
It's literally take the ranks of all three of those attributes and add them up, and that's how many health nodes you have. Now.
I'm dumb. I already put this on the sheet somewhere. Hang on.
Okay.
Delete you, paste you, there. done.
Oh, you did it already.
I did. I actually did it before while we were getting stuff nailed down. But
Okay.
now we have it here too. So
Okay. Now, let's talk real quick. Because this could be too bloated. Like, if we find out that this is too bloated, I do have a quick fix that we should put in as a note.
okay, yeah.
The idea would be, if we find that this is too much to start with, then it is, your derived attributes are all of those things added up, divided by 2.
Oh, yeah. So if too bloaty, switch to
Same thing, just divided by 2.
same thing, but divided by 2. Yeah, totally agree. Okay, that's something.
That's more than something.
Yeah, we got a thing done.
Yeah, we did derived attributes. We did goddamn. We got a little crunch in our game. A little crunch in my munch.
I'm gonna munch. I'm gonna crunch. What are we doing next? What are we doing next week? So for everybody who was just dying to see 3 aliens in a skin suit, we do unfortunately need to tell you that is going to be waylaid for a little bit. We are getting it play tested by a group privately, but it may be a second before we go through.
We outsourced.
We were lazy and we outsourced it, and we're sorry. We will be bringing that to you eventually.
Hold on. Here's the thing. I'm not fucking sorry, because we're making networking opportunities in the TTRPG community. Damn it.
It's true. They're gonna play our game about 3 aliens in a skin suit, and we'll become household names.
You're playing our party game, and they're going to fucking savage us for it.
They're gonna absolutely fucking destroy us. That being said, we will. I do still want to eventually stream a playtest, or at least like a feature on it, just because I mean it's kind of like our first game that like we made together.
Yeah.
That being said, it will be probably a little while before we do that. So next week we need to decide what we're doing, because I think all of our best streams have been when we like give ourselves homework like to look at for like the next week.
Yeah, dog. I got some homework for you. We need to come up with feats.
Oh fucking no.
We need 3 feats for everything. This is what it is. Yeah, this is what it is. Because if we can develop these 3 feats for everything, then Taylor, we can fucking do a playtest of character creation.
Okay. So here is my thought. Do you want to do 2 feats or 3 feats for like every species, every history, every province?
We already started with 3, but I get what you're saying. Maybe we're shooting for the stars.
Well, okay, so we have history and province done. Do you want one of us to take province and one of us to take history, and we each come up with 3 each, or is that too big? Do you think?
Well, hear me out. I'm on fucking GM duty this month, so
You are.
your boy's gonna be busy.
It's a beautiful thing for me. You love to see it.
I hate it. I hate you. I don't want to run games. I just want to play them.
Oh, yeah. I've found that I really enjoy GMing games, but man,
And beat after a month of it.
yeah, dude, a month is a long fucking time. Like, for the life of me, I don't understand how, like, forever GMs do this shit. You gotta burn out on that shit so easily.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like I think I like when I did Deadlands, I was like, fuck, that was a lot. But I did run Deadlands for 2 different groups for the same month. That was a lot of Deadlands.
That would have been a lot. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, like, I think a month is a good amount of time to, like, at the end you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
But like it's good. It's a good whoa.
It's a good woe. You feel accomplished by the end of it, if nothing else. So I mean, there's that.
Accomplished.
I feel like I'm gonna be really burnt out after my next month because it'll be my first time doing a full month of like original content and not like a pre-made adventure.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. You had me looking at some fucking pre-made adventures like.
Look, man. I mean, it's. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I'll never do it again. I will probably do it again at some point.
Ooh, that looks delicious. Mmm.
Oh.
Ooh, that tastes just fine.
Oh, they got like the whole Imperial City mapped out here. That's.
Here's the thing,
Yeah,
though.
that's-
I've found
nice.
with pre-written material, I have a harder time running it.
I actually, yeah, I was surprised by how difficult it was to run.
Because you don't
Like-
know everything like you know your own material.
Yeah, exactly. Or at the very least, what I found is, you don't feel comfortable.
Night, Dad, love you.
Love you too.
You don't feel as comfortable
Love you too.
bullshitting someone else's material as you do with your own.
Yeah.
That was like the thing for mine.
Yeah. Well, because you don't know like what the consequences. Like I know the consequences to the actions that my players are going to do. Well, I can guess the consequences to the action. Well, I didn't know that one of my players was gonna fucking get himself embroiled with like a major player in Night City after my first arc. Taylor, do you know anything about that?
I don't. Not even a little bit, Corey. By the way, I forgot to mention this to you. My character in your game died randomly. They're dead now, and I'm gonna have to make a new. I'm gonna have to make a new one.
That's not beyond the realm of happening now.
Well, okay. Well, if you're not feeling that, how about this? How about we meet with let's split the histories in half, and that way it's a little bit more doable.
And if somebody gets a little froggy, feel free. Get froggy. If I feel froggy.
Okay. How many of these do we have?
Fucking histories? Goddamn, I don't know, like a ton, I think.
We've got a bunch. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'll take 6. I'll do the first 6, clergy through nobility, and then you take nomad down.
Tight. Fucking... Yeah. I got lost. Hold on. Where's the list?
It is right above where the provinces are.
I don't see anything there. I just see it says the word history.
That's because you're looking at the section for feats.
Oh my god. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Weird. Okay. Fucking, I gotta start moving this shit over to fucking...
Yeah, this is a garbage document, and I apologize.
No, it's just, I have to start moving it over to Scrivener, and, like, I didn't do it at first, and I was like, well, I'll do it later. And now it's, like, this big pile of, like, garbage that, like...
Yeah, it's a little bit of a nightmare.
Look what we did! bring this to your partner and just be like, look what...
Hey, do you want to know what I've been doing for the last like 6 months? Here you go.
We're gonna need red yarn.
Who is Pepe Silva?
It's Sylvia. I go to her office. Carol. You know what I found out, man?
Sylvia absolutely works here, and they're wondering why they haven't gotten their mail for fucking months.
Charlie, not only do all of these people exist, but all they're doing is talking about where the mail is. It is all they're talking about up there. We're gonna fire. Oh shit, we're gonna get fired. Don't worry about that. Okay. So yeah, I mean that's a fucking. We did it. Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished.
The game is over. Mission accomplished. Bye, everybody.
Okay, bye everyone. We did a good job. Love us. Tell me I did a good job.